Hey Bales, welcome back to coding a 2D side-scrolling platformer in GameMaker Studio. Today we're going to look at altering jump height, varying jump height depending on how much you press down the key. You can see like here where if I just press the key for a long duration, he will jump high. If I tap it lightly, you can make some small jumps. The other thing we're going to look at is ladders and how you can apply climbing to a game. As a bonus for that, I have also made it so now you can jump down ghost platforms. So you, for example, can go down on a ladder like this. For this, we have a couple of new sprites. We have called new player sprites. We have this hanging sprite where he is simply hanging in the ladder, and then we have this climbing sprite, which we'll use both when we're climbing up and climbing down, where we just reverse it to climb the other direction. In the background section, we have added this tile set, which is just for ladders. I have called it back volcano tiles. So now we have a tile set where we can add different tiles we can use in the room for volcano worlds. You can see I have added in the texture group world 2, and this is pretty simple. It's a very simple tile set I have created where you cannot really see it super well, but there is some lines between here where there's a grid. You can change the background color for the transparency and then you will be able to see it. You can see we have just some different parts for some ladders, so we can create ladders in varying sizes. So that's the only new graphical things we have. And before continuing to our main features, I will just once again correct some bugs I have shamefully developed in the last series. I found I had, for example, I think there was a mistake here where I forgot the sign part of this, and that doesn't really matter as long as the image X scale is 1 or -1, but if we had like a larger image X scale, it wouldn't work properly. So now that is fixed, and we changed some stuff in part entity to better allow the climbing of slopes, mainly down here. Small changes to get the walking up slopes become more smooth, and you can see we are now subtracting 1 from I every time we are pushed off a slope to make sure we are always also getting pushed down for 1 pixel again because of our vertical speed. But it's slight changes, so they'll not make a lot of difference, but they did. I found the bug where if you were I'm gonna say that if you had a wall here and you ran into this wall, he will sort of glitch out here because he didn't know if he was walking up a slope, but he couldn't walk up the slope, so he was pushed back down and pushed back, and so it would like flicker. Now he can walk into the wall and he will just act normally. So that should be a nice change. So if you have used this code in some of your projects, you should just copy it in and maybe update it. But there was no grand changes. I created our first feature here, the jumping feature per request. It's a thing used in a lot of platformers, so it makes sense to have it shown how you can do that, because the logic is not always super well. Some people will say that okay, you'll just have a counter variable and that's something you will need, but then if you are still pressing up while in air, then he will just add to the vertical speed. For this gives a artificial like so it looks like he gets sort of a jump boost mid-air, and we don't want that. So let's see how I did it. Everything is of course in the object player's controls. Up here where we jump, I have added a new variable, of course defined here in the create event. It's called jump strength. Jump str stands for jump strength, and this will tell how much you will add to the jump, or can add to the jump with it. And then for the next part I have added climbing as well, a variable, but we'll come back to that. in controls, when we are pressing jump and we are not in air, then we will, as before, set the vertical speed, and then we will only set this to -11 now, and I've changed that. And then we have set the jump strength to 3, and I've just tried out different numbers for different things here, what looks best, and this works best in this time. You can change these variables, how many steps this jump strength works and stuff like that. But 3 worked for me here. Now I added this extra thing here where you can step down from a ghost platform. So if you're pressing up, but if you are also pressing, or if you're pressing jump, and if you're also pressing down to show that you want to go down, and there's a ghost block underneath you, then your Y position will set to +4, vertical speed will be reset to 0, and jump strength will be set to 0. So now he'll just fall down through the block instead. Great, that was that. And then if this is not true, if we are in air, then it will check if you're pressing jump, and if jump strength is above 0, then it will increase, or technically decrease, but set the vertical speed so that you jump a little more up to 2 plus sign power up jump in case you have a power up, and it will subtract 1 from jump strength. So it will, as long as you keep pressing jump, it will give a little boost. I'm doing this gradually over 3 steps here with the jump strength variable, and that's because if you do it like, as I said before, if you do it with one, either you cannot get to press, it will be super hard to press the up jump key fast, and to achieve this small jump you will need to just tap it for very short duration. But if you do this gradually, it will be like, depending on how long you tap it, and it will, by adding this gradual only to speed every time, it will not have this sudden jump effect, double jump like. So that's just what I wanted to do. And then we have this, if this is not happening either, then this will be checked. So if either we have released the jump key or jump strength is at 0 now, then it will check this one, and if keyword check released key jump, so if we release the jump key and the jump strength is above 2, so if we release it as it is above 2, so if only this one has happened once, then it will add these two to vertical speed again, thus stopping our jump boost a little, making sure you can make these tiny jumps, because we have now we have 2 steps to release the jump key. And yeah, if this is the case, if we're not pressing jump anymore, then we will also set jump strength to 0, because now we cannot like release the jump key and then press it again to jump a little more and in air. It's not a double jump function, this one. But if you want a double jump function, it's pretty easy to make. I'll gladly implement it as well into the engine, but write it in the comments if you want it, and then I will work on that. But yeah, this is how it works. It's actually pretty simple with the jump boost. And again, to show how it looks, if you simply tap the key, then it will be a very small jump. If you hold it, it will be a larger jump. And you can use that to make like if you only need, if you have a small gap you need to jump through or something, then you can variate how much people need to press. And you can change the values in the system. I found this worked for me, as I said, and it might not work for your platform game. You may want it to act differently, and then you can just change some of the values. It's pretty easy. The other part, these ladders here, is a little bit a bigger build. We had to implement it on a bigger scale into our object, but harder. It wasn't harder than that. The object itself, we have a the tiles themselves, they look a little glitchy sometimes, and that's because they have these scrolling views and stuff like that. You might want to make the stairs a little bigger and more well defined, so it will not make this glitch look. Also, should things be done proper in here in the tile sets, you wanted a buffer on either side of at least 1 pixel where it continues the color, just to make sure that it will show truly. But this is just an example, so I didn't want to make too much of a hassle of the work, but that's just a good idea in general when creating tiles. Let's have like a buffer outside here where the pixels continue. So here we had a black line here we have black, gray, black, black, gray, black, and black line, and black and black. So pretty small extra frame around the tiles, which will make it blend better in the engine here. Stupid me, there is one more sprite we have added, of course, and that's our sprite for climbable items or climbable places, and that's simply this ladder-ish sprite, which we will use in our new object, which is par climbable, and there's no code in this object. It will be invisible in the room, but it's simply for when we are creating the rooms down here in our room editor, we can add the ladders in like so, and we can simply move them around and stuff like that. Now I fucked up the tiles because I didn't really look at it, and I will not save this, but damn it, now it's bugging up some stuff. There's some bugs in GameMaker sometimes, and it's a little sad. I'll just restart it, save it, and restart it, and then it should probably work better. But as I said, the par climbable has no code in it. Everything is everything it does is being an object that other objects can interact with. If we start from the root, we have some changes in par entity, which makes this climbing available. We have this new variable which is called VF, which stands for vertical friction. And as a standard, this is set to false. But if you set this to true, not only the horizontal will use the friction F variable to have friction, but it will also work vertically. And this is great if you want an object which is moving up and down and left and right in the same manner and has no gravity on it. Then you can have it like this, and it will have friction in all directions, and you will just set gravity to 0. But this is what we will use in our player to we will toggle this vertical friction variable to true whenever we are climbing. And as I said earlier, we have this new climbing variable as well, which will be what we will toggle if we are climbing or not. As you can see here, where normal movement, as it has been always, has been moved in one nest, and is now first we're checking if we're climbing. If we are not climbing, then everything will happen as normally, or else if climbing is true, then we can do our climbing code. But let's start with how we begin climbing. I've added a little segment to the code down here that if place meeting xy par climbable, if there is a ladder at our position, and if there's also a ladder at our position -32 and our position +32, so that we cannot climb with our toes and our fingertips when we are at the bottom and the top of the ladder. So it checks if we are on a ladder and if we are fully on a ladder. Then it checks over here if our attack clock is below or equal to 0, so that if we are not attacking currently, and if we are checking if we are pressing either up or down to climb up or down, then we will grab onto the ladder. Climbing will be set to true, vertical speed will be set to 0, and horizontal speed will be set to 0. So now we're standing still in air. Great. And now down here, if climbing is true, so if we begin climbing, we will create two temporary variables, H sign and V sign, which is simply checking whether you're pressing left or right, and whether you're pressing up or down, if any. And then we set our horizontal speed, and we are simply adding the H sign, so we add 1 in the direction we're moving horizontally, and we have a max speed of 2. And vertical speed the same, except we set the vertical sign, we add 2, so times 2, we add that to the vertical speed. And then we have maximum 4 in each direction. So now we have set our speed, we are moving actually on the ladder. If we are moving upwards and there is no, after this thing here, if we're moving upwards and there is no ladder at y minus 32, then we want to jump off the ladder so we can land on something and thus get a little boost up. So we set climbing to false and vertical speed to minus 10. If not H sign is 0, so if either both of these keys are pressed or none of these keys are pressed, this will not launch. If one of them are pressed and one of them alone, then it will set the image X scale to H sign, thus we can toggle between what direction we are facing. And just as when we're in the ground. And then in general, if we do not sit on a ladder anymore, and again, if we're not sitting on a ladder plus 32 pixels, then climbing will be set to false and we will simply fall down. And again, this gives us possibility to move around on the ladder. You might want to change some of the checks on top of, but you can see we can hang in the hands, but if we go lower, we will fall down. You might want to change some of the values because it will not fit for every sprite size and stuff like this. We have a pretty slim mask, so we didn't have to make some changes in moving to the sides, but we could possibly need that, and then that will be something we will do. But now we can move around on the ladder, we can move both up and down and left and right, and that makes so you can make ladders that will go like across here, and then you could simply make him climb. Oh, that's so pretty. You can make him climb across gaps and stuff like that. So I think that's pretty cool. Last thing in here is then in our begin step, no, in here, in our end step, sorry. And I have divided sprites and inherit. So now we have this sprite segment where we of course have added, we are checking if things are false. If we're not climbing, then it will set to the standard sprites. If we are climbing, then it will, if we are standing still, sitting still on the ladder, it will set to sprite player hang. If not, then it will set it to sprite player climb. Pretty easy. But up here in the inherit, we have this event inherited, which we always had. We need a semicolon, boom. And then we have this where if climbing is true, then it will set multi-G to 0, so that we will have 0 gravity for a while, only while this is true. And then we'll set vertical friction to true. And if climbing is false, then it will set vertical friction to false again, and everything will be normal. So that was about it. I think that was everything. Let me check the list. Boom, 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 boom. That should be everything. I'm sorry, so long, the long wait for this episode. I had a couple of weeks where I was pretty busy with some study stuff, and I was tutoring the new students, so I didn't really have time for anything. I actually programmed this last week, but I didn't have time to record it and upload it. But yeah, now it's here, and I don't know what the next episode will be. I'm not sure, but hopefully it will not be as long. It will not, don't worry. From now on, I should be free every Monday, so I should always be able to record at least something every week. And depending on how busy I am, I can also record other days, of course. So that'll be this for this time. I really hope you enjoyed. If you think any one of your friends or someone you just know could use these tutorials, please share it with them. I'm trying to help as many people as I can, so that would be nice if you wanted to share it. And if you liked it, press like. If you didn't, press dislike. If you are indifferent, don't press anything. If you really liked it, then you can press that favorite button there. And if you want to follow me seeing all the new things as they come out, then you can always press the subscribe button, and you will get the new videos on your YouTube whenever they are out. But I've been Simon. I hope you enjoyed. See you next time. Bye. Whoa, you seem to be at the end of the video. If you liked this video, or even if you didn't, it would make me incredibly happy if you would just rate it. Either way, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Bye.